Sunday painter.
Ever feel like you could be a better artist? You're frustrated looking for answers. The Sunday Painter will help you with your struggles. By using these crafted short lessons, biographies with commentary, straightforward, effortless with simple tips and an easy-to-understand tutorial giving you a new way of seeing. Today we are going to study Elizabeth Jane Gardner Bouguereau, an American painter. While doing this, you can check out Age Limited's vintage distressed artist tees so you can look good while making a statement. The link is in the description below the video. Have some creative fun. Now on to the lesson. So, who is this woman that left after the Civil War in America to study in Paris by cutting her hair and pretending to be a man? I did not know much about her, but at a request of a master painter, Michael John Angel, who teaches fine art in Florence, Italy. Angel Academy. You should check out his beautiful work. I'm glad he recommended her, because she is an interesting lady that overcame many obstacles. Let's take a closer look. Elizabeth Gardner was among the first wave of Americans who sought art training in Paris during and after the Civil War. She was the first American woman to exhibit a painting at the Paris Salon, and the first woman awarded a gold medal there. Her prize-winning painting The Farmer's Daughter sold April 23, 2010 at Sotheby's, New York for $494,500. Born, October 4, 1837 in Exeter, New Hampshire. After attending the Young Ladies' Female Academy in Exeter, she attended the LaSalle Female Seminary in Auburndale, Massachusetts, where she studied languages and art. She graduated in 1856 and for the next few years taught French at the newly opened Worcester School of Design and Fine Arts in Worcester, Massachusetts. Elizabeth longed to become a famous artist. In 1864, after teaching art at LaSalle Seminary, she and Imogen Robinson left for France. To pay her rent, she spent her time copying paintings by contemporary artists and older masters in prestigious galleries. She had to obtain a license to become a copyist at the Louvre and the Musée du Luxembourg. In a letter to her brother, Gardner noted, "Americans are buying many pictures. I have always had the satisfaction of pleasing those for whom I have painted. One gentleman was so satisfied with a copy I did for him that he paid me more than I asked." Later, in the autumn of that year, Gardner decided to apply to the École des Beaux-Arts. This school was known as the most prestigious art academy in Paris. Her application was rejected. Like most if not all art establishments at that time, the school was male only. The ban on women's applications was not lifted until 1897, 35 years after Gardner had applied. However, Gardner did not give up. She was a very independent woman. Like the sculptor Rosa Bonheur, she applied to the police for a permit that would allow her to wear men's attire so she could attend life classes. She cut her hair and enrolled as a man at the Gobelin Drawing School, where her teacher was the famed William Bouguereau. Gardner's ruse fooled no one for long, but she was accepted by the faculty and her fellow students, who called her the droll American. She continued to enroll in private classes and to build an outstanding portfolio of artwork. She also studied in Paris under the figurative painter Hugues Merle, the well-known salon painter Jules-Joseph Lefebvre. The biggest challenge to her training was the restriction on women studying anatomy from nude models. So, she dressed as a man. She was an astute businesswoman and an excellent linguist, switching from her native English to French, Italian or German, to make her guests and potential clients feel at ease. She excelled in the social graces and knew how to manage publicity and nurture relationships that would help her further her career. Her ability to work her way into the social networks in Paris earned her sales and portrait commissions. In 1868, she was the first American woman to exhibit at the Paris Salon. Also, during that time period, her paintings were accepted in 25 Paris salons. Awarded a gold medal at the 1872 Salon, she became the first woman ever to receive such an honor. Her works were accepted to the Salon more than any other woman painter in history and more than all but a few of the men. In the late 1870s, renowned Paris art dealer Goupil began purchasing her work. In the 1880s her work was so much in demand that the prestigious Nodeler art dealership of New York bought her salon paintings, sight unseen. While looking around the net, I couldn't find any of her works that didn't look like a Bouguereau. For me this was a great disappointment. I wanted to see what her art looked like before his influence. Now let's take a look at their relationship, her and Bouguereau. She and the married Bouguereau fell in love, and in 1868 she took a studio next door to his in Montparnasse. Gardner's relationship with Bouguereau was a subject of great discussion within the Parisian artistic community. She got to know the family and was on friendly terms with Bouguereau's wife, Marie Nelly. In April 1877, both Bouguereau's wife and infant son died during childbirth. In 1879, the grieving widower proposed marriage to Elizabeth Gardner, age 42, who happily accepted, but Bouguereau's mother and daughter Henriette opposed the union. The daughter threatened to leave home and join a convent if a marriage took place. Bouguereau could not go against his family, but the couple remained engaged. Gardner wrote home, "And now about my engagement. I am very fond of Mr. Bouguereau, and he has given me every proof of his devotion to me. We neither of us wish to be married at present. I have long been accustomed to my freedom. I am beginning to attain a part of the success for which I have been struggling so long. He is ambitious for me as well as I for myself. I wish to paint by myself a while longer. He has a fretful mother who is now not young, 78, I think. She is of a peevish, tyrannical disposition, and I know she made his first wife much trouble." In the meantime, Gardner pursued her career as the most successful woman painter in Paris. It was undoubtedly at her insistence that the conservative Bouguereau, who was president of the Society of French Artists, opened the doors of the Académie Julian and the École des Beaux-Arts to women students. They finally married after his mother's death in 1896, she was 59, he was 71. Gardner set her artwork aside during her marriage but resumed painting after Bouguereau died in 1905. About 40 of her paintings are known to exist. She was often accused of too closely resembling that of her husband. Her response to this accusation was, "I know I am criticized for not more boldly asserting my individuality, but I would rather be known as the best imitator of Bouguereau than nobody." Clearly Gardner felt that having to suffer the criticism that her work was too similar to that of the most famous and beloved artist of the time was preferable to not being discussed at all. Although her painting technique does closely resemble the skilled hand of her husband, she does in fact have a body of stunning works, many of which express her unique voice and give her work a degree of separation. After marrying Bouguereau, Gardner almost stopped painting altogether and spent most of her time looking after her husband in his studio. When asked why she stopped painting, she simply replied, "He was alone and needed me. I abandoned the brush." She did not resume her painting career until after his death 9 years later, and after this she signed all her works in her married name. Although her subjects were quite different, her paintings did strongly resemble his. She accumulated a stunning body of work, some of which express her unique voice. The similarity in their styles was good for her finances as well. This genre of art was very popular with the public in France and even more so in America, where clients could not get enough of her art. She died January 28, 1922 at her summer residence in St. Cloud, a western suburb of Paris, and was buried, like her husband, in the Cimetière de Montparnasse in Paris. Elizabeth Gardner Bouguereau deserves to be remembered as the feisty young woman who challenged the French art establishment. She lighted the way for other women artists to challenge the stranglehold man had on the art world in the 19th century. Now looking over both of their work side by side, I do see a difference. It's in their scumbling technique. So, what is scumbling? Scumbling refers to a painting technique which involves applying a thin layer of paint with a dry brush and a loose hand over an existing layer. The idea is to allow parts of the already existing paint below to remain exposed. In most cases, scumbling is used over dried paint, but you can also use it over wet paint. You just need to be careful with the colors blending together while the layer before is wet. Other painters that used this technique was J.M.W. Turner and Monet. To use the scumbling technique, you should pick up a small amount of paint straight from a tube with a dry brush and apply it loosely to the canvas. You do not want the paint to blend with the existing colors or to be so thick that the colors below are completely covered. This is what gives an airy fuzzy porcelain look. In his work you can see the underpainting sometimes, especially in the clothing, with a light color scumbled over the item. In her work, her underpainting seems to me to be a little more solid with the scumbling over the top. It not only makes it more solid, it also gives the painting a heavier weight. To explain this a little more, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make while copying a Bouguereau. They paint it direct without scumbling, which makes the paintings look flat and plastic. So, if you want to paint like Bouguereau, you must be able to scumble many layers to build softness his paintings are known for. If you want more information, please leave it in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this short documentary. There is always more to Elizabeth Jane Gardner Bouguereau, and I hope this sparks your curiosity. Subscribe. Also, don't forget to look outstanding by getting your quality custom distressed artist tees. The link is in the description below. Be unique. Please leave a positive comment. Have a great day and thanks for watching.